Hi, everyone, and welcome to MGFA's Wellness Series webinar, Positivity in Social Media. My name is Jenna Mbalo, and I'm the Director of Patient Advocacy and Community Engagement at MGFA, and I'll be moderating today's session. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. Please remain on mute throughout the presentation and submit your questions via the Zoom chat located on the Zoom menu bar, and we'll answer them during the Q&A segment. Today's session will be recorded and available online. Now I'd like to give special thanks for the support of our Wellness Series presenting sponsors, Alexion, Argenix, Momenta, and UCB, and our supporting sponsors, Immunovant and Catalyst. We've got a great presentation ahead, and now it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Melissa Wallace. Melissa's career and volunteer efforts carry a recurring theme of finding positive aspects in challenging situations. From her leadership in revitalizing blighted communities, mediation, and community consensus building as an executive director, to her volunteerism as a crisis counselor, homeless assistant advocate, and now as an MG friend, Melissa strives to find solutions that better her community and individuals. With the help of an expert medical team and supportive family, Melissa doesn't let her over 30 years with MG stop her from embracing life and being of service. Melissa, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Jana. And it's so nice I see some friendly faces that I know here today. I'm so glad you guys could all take part in this. I am Melissa Lynn online. I actually recognize some of you from online. I am a patient that has MG. I've had MG for just about 32 years. And for me, MG has been quite an emotional and physical roller coaster. I've hit that kind of ideal near normal stride at some point, and I've also spent years bedridden. And it was really during those years that I was bedridden that I reached out. It was about 10 or 12 years ago. That I went out on social media and I met people that had MG very first time. And for me, it was a very rewarding experience. I was on prednisone, I was up all night, and I found other people that were up all night with me and were able to chat with me in some of my darkest moments. When I was in the hospital, there were people that were in the hospital as well, and we kept each other company. In the MG groups, I saw people running marathons, I saw people climbing mountains, I saw people doing things that I didn't even do pre-MG, and they offered me inspiration and hope. I've met some of the most caring, knowledgeable, and brave people in my life through social media and through MG support groups online. So for me, it's been a great benefit overall. Some of these people are actually dear friends that I've got to meet in person at the MGFA conferences. And I think we're going to be lifelong friends. So I was so thankful for that experience. But I think we all know over the past decade, things have changed a lot with social media, both in the way we use it and the way we access it. We have everything at our fingertips now, and we fill time now more than ever with our phones and with social media. And some of that's good, but we've also created new habits that actually block meaningful connections in our lives. And even the most positive person can really get dragged into a sea of negativity and discord when we're on social media. Especially now with COVID, where people are physically isolated, socially isolated, we're reaching out on social media, trying to get information and make sense of this crazy world right now, right? And we're seeking out information, we're seeking entertainment, we're seeking connection. Some people just want to air grievances too. It's a massive amount of information that we're putting into our brains, and some of that's positive information. And when I say positive, I don't mean unicorns and rainbows all the time. Sometimes there's that too. But when I speak of positive, what I'm meaning is authentic, beautiful, connecting experiences between people. Sometimes those interactions are negative, they're divisive, and sometimes they're downright mean. And so we have to think about what those positive and negative experiences. I'm going to open up my slides right now. So we have to think about what those positive and negative experiences are doing in our lives. We know that research tells us negativity can actually shorten our lifespan, increase stress levels. I'm sure we've all had interactions online where we felt our blood pressure increase. It can cause systemic health issues or make systemic health issues worse. Things like diabetes and cardiac issues. It can have social impacts with the people around us. And it also creates brain changes, even in the way we process pain. And then on the other side of that, you've got positivity. And positivity, of course, we know it's going to increase our lifespan. It lowers our stress. It gives us better coping skills. It gives us better heart health. It has an impact on our neural pathways. And those are the pathways between your brain and your body. So we want to have a positive impact on our neural pathways. And it also improves overall wellness. Now, I know that we all have friends and family, very well-meaning, that will say, oh, and if you just had a more positive attitude, it's going to cure your MG. I don't know. It hasn't cured my MG yet. But if we do try to stay in the more positive zone, it can definitely have better impacts in our life. And I just had to put my phone down because somebody texted me. So we know that it's definitely got its benefits to stay in the more positive zone. But how does seeing negative and positive content online impact my emotions? Let's think of this scenario. We get up in the morning, we have a cup of coffee, take our medicine or tea or whatever. And what do we start doing? We start scrolling on the phone. And it's a habit. And many of us do this. And we're taking in massive amounts of information in those moments. And that information that we're taking in is planting a seed of thought. And almost every feeling that we have is rooted in a thought. Almost every feeling we have is rooted in a thought. So let's put that into practice for a minute. And I'm going to see if I can see some of you. I would love for you guys to just close your eyes just for 30 seconds and pull up a positive memory that you have. It could be anything. It could be going on a great vacation, watching your child sleep, buying a new car, whatever it is, running a marathon, whatever it is, just stay in that moment just for a few seconds, and I'm going to be quiet for a few seconds and see what happens. If you're like a lot of people, thinking of that happy moment, that positive moment, probably brought about some feelings of happiness for you. And it may have even made your body feel a little bit better and a little lighter in the process. That positive memory created a happy feeling and a physical change in your body, because almost every feeling is rooted in a thought. So when you think about the fact that we're taking in massive amounts of information that is impacting our thoughts, which are impacting our feelings, These are also impacting our physical, social, and emotional health. So, how do we address this? How can we create better habits so that we can better connect and get the benefits of connectivity online and through social media versus playing in a toxic playground and starting our day with all of these thoughts that we're taking in? How are we able to better control that and create better habits? First, we start with, and if you don't mind, I just have to change some of this here. Okay. So first we start with a mindful inventory. And a mindful inventory, I'm a very visual person. So I like to think of things in terms of negativity as weeds and positivity as flowers. We know that weeds can grow on their own. They can absolutely consume, just like negativity can. When you have a negative thought in your mind, it can really consume you. I know it can do that for me. It can just grow out of control without even putting any effort in. It just does. It just grows, just like a weed. Negativity elicits such strong emotions that it can become viral, both on social media and in your brain. On the other side of that, you've got positivity. And just like flowers, positivity needs your attention. It needs your nurturing. It takes effort. Just like anything good in life, it takes effort to develop and to grow. For positivity, we're looking for meaningful, authentic interactions. And I can't stress that enough. We want to make connections with people. We need more of it. So as you're doing your mindful inventory, what you need to consider is balance. So how do you want to balance your positive and negative? And you can look at the platforms that you're using on social media. A lot of us are using Facebook, Twitter. If you're getting into fights with people on there, or you're seeing things that are depressing and upsetting you, well, those things, those physical feelings that you're having, that's a cue that maybe that's not something that you want to allow in your life, or that you don't want to allow a lot of. If you're spending time on TikTok or some other social media, and I don't have any preference, this is really your decision, things that are making you laugh, things that are uplifting you, then you're probably going to want to spend a little more time and effort in those areas. You can think of it as a shopping cart. When you're shopping, you're going to fill your shopping cart with things that nurture you and that are healthy for you. And you might put a little junk food in, but probably only a little bit. You want to balance out your negative and positive and evaluate that by knowing how you're feeling both emotionally and physically. You also need to look at the people that are in your friends list, in your newsfeed, and evaluate how those people that you're interacting with every day make you feel. Sorry, I'm having a problem with my window here, so if you can just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, so now you know that with mindful inventory, you can probably already think of things off the top of your head that you'd like to change, places that you don't need to be and where you want to go. And you're probably in this presentation because you might need a little more positivity in your social media experience. So the first place to begin is really to scroll with intention. And when we set our intention, what we're saying is our aim and our goal for the day. What do I stand for? What do I want to see in my interactions, not just online, but in daily life as well. I have an intention that I read every morning, and it's basically a choose kindness intention. And I can tell you that when I go online and really deal with anything in my day, it's really hard for me to have a negative interaction and fire off a negative comment to somebody when I have the intention in the back of my mind of choosing kindness. So setting your intention or just having it in mind every day before you get on and you start scrolling is just a good idea. You can write it down. It can be in the form of an affirmation, a prayer, a meditation. You can stick it on your fridge just to set your day and set the ambient energy for your day. And then you can really get into the functionality of how are we going to clean up things and create better habits that we have on social media. And of course, the first thing we're going to do is clear out those weeds and clear out the negativity that we have. Now I'm going to go through a few screenshots that I've gotten here. You don't have to remember how to do this. The presentation will be available after, so if you want to go back and review and know how to use some of these features with social media, you can always review the presentation again, or you can Google how to do it. And if you see me online, you can ask me as well. So first, we're going to remove the apps that we don't need, right? If something is creating this feelings of discord in you, you don't need it on your phone. You can still access apps. You can easily access them by using a web browser on your computer, or you can use a web browser on your cell phone. So it's not like it's gone forever. It's just that you can't get that quick fix anymore on your phone. You have to actually use it with intention and purpose. And you could, if you find there's some apps that are just not serving you and benefiting you, but there are some that you're having great experiences on, then you can keep those apps on your phone and just remove the ones that aren't serving you, so you're only going to them with a purpose. The next thing that you want to do is, if there are any groups that you're in that you're having a hard time in, you can leave the group. You can just do it. Just leave it. You don't have to be in a group that's not serving you. And it's really easy to do it on Facebook. You can just click on leave group. There's 3 dots, and then you click on leave group. Now, the next thing you need to do is review your friends. And on Instagram and Twitter, if you decide to unfollow or block somebody, they make it very straightforward and very easy. You can just go through the process. When you're on Facebook, they have a lot of different varieties. That's how you can unfollow or unfriend somebody. I'm going to briefly go over these. And here I have my friend Roger Morris. And Roger could never get rid of me very easily, but let's say it was time for Roger and I to review our friendship. And if it was, I would hit the 3 buttons there on the side, and I could determine if I wanted to unfollow or take a break from Roger. I wouldn't, but if I wanted to unfollow him, he wouldn't even know that I did it. So if I just got sick of seeing him posting about the whoopie pie contest in my news feed, then I could unfollow him. He'd never know. And I could still go to his Facebook page and check in on him and see how his granddaughters are doing, his granddaughter and grandson are doing. So it kind of enables you to take a little break without the other person knowing it. And then there is the take a break option, which offers some additional restrictions so that people can't see certain posts that you have. Then you can outright unfriend somebody so that they can't see your posts and you can't see their posts anymore. But you can still see each other in groups and you can still interact that way. And then the ultimate is the block. That basically means if I blocked Roger, he would not exist in the realm of my Facebook experience anymore, nor would I exist. But I wouldn't really want to do that. What I like to do with Roger is select the see first option, because Roger fills my feed with a lot of joy and friendship and uplifting information. And so I can choose the option to see Roger first. And I do that with a lot of my family and friends that just make me smile, because when I see their post first, it's intention. I'm scrolling with intention, and I'm seeing things that are more positive instead of that constant negative from Facebook. Which brings me to the next item. Facebook does this thing where if you spend a lot of time playing in the weeds, in the negative, toxic playground, Facebook thinks that's what you would like to see first. So they have their algorithms, and the first things you will see are the negative places where you've been, if you've been spending a lot of time there. I've done that before on news sites or groups, and that'll be the first thing that you start seeing. So you need to change to view recent posts, and it's a little bit difficult to find, but dig through, find it. It's a great experience to do that, because when you're viewing most recent, it's whenever people are posting online, and you start seeing the diverse friends that you have. And when I do that, I see people that I haven't seen post, it seems like, in forever. And it's a completely different experience. It's really surprising how different your experience can be when you view recent posts versus when you see kind of the negative places that you've been dragged into. So after we're done clearing out the weeds, we really want to make sure that we're exploring the positive and adding a lot more of that into our experience. And you can experiment with so many different social media apps. There are apps for everything out there. There's apps for gamers, apps for people that love art, apps for people that just want that social media experience and connecting, but in really small bites. Explore, find an app that you might like. If you hate it, you can delete it. It's not a big deal. So, go out there and try a few different ones out. I can't recommend any in particular, because it really depends on what your needs are and what your interests are. So you just got to go and explore those new apps. Follow your heroes. Follow people that are an inspiration to you. It can be people that are other autoimmune disorders, or that have experienced difficulties and flourished in life, or just people that are uplifting and motivating and make you happy. Make sure you're following those people and put them in your news feed. So those are also people, and it can be on Instagram or TikTok or any of the social media apps that you're on. Make sure that you have a good crew of people that you're following. I follow just about every MG friend that I have, because I really truly think that they're amazing people. Also, you can connect with your hobbies on social media. So if you're into the arts, or you're into exercise, if you can run or bike or do yoga, you can join groups online, again, across all the different social media apps. You can join different groups that fit your interests. So you're in a community with like-minded people where you're talking about your fun hobbies. And those communities tend to stay mostly positive and veer away from a lot of the current events and, let's face it, the politics that are going on. And so you can really, if you can get in with a community that connects with your interests, that can also be very rewarding. You can even learn new things. If you go onto YouTube, you can learn how to play the piano. If you're on Facebook, people are giving lessons for yoga on Facebook Live. So explore those options and make sure you're adding them into your newsfeed as well. You can follow, these weird, unique Facebook pages like Secondhand Finds. There are people that are posting their animals and their pets and their really cute videos and pictures. So you can really delve into those uplifting posts for groups and hobbies. And then explore your support groups. There are over 100 MG support groups. I was kind of shocked by that. Now it's across the world, not just in the US, but there's over 100 of them. So explore all those support groups. I have, there's not a one-size-fits-all for support groups. The cue to you that you're in a good support group is if you feel that people are cheering for you, if you feel that you're getting a benefit out of it. Either you're able to help people and get a benefit, or you're able to receive help and support. You might just be there for laughs, because there are some support groups that are really solely focused on laughing and positivity and fun. There are others you can go to for medical information and research. You can find a support group that fits your needs. You can definitely find a support group that fits your unique needs, from antibody-specific support groups to curing myasthenia gravis with duct tape. You can truly find anything. I like to spend my time I have about 20 support groups in my Facebook feed. And I'll dip into some for support for myself. There's some that I like to spend time in and help to give support and give information, because I feel like my personal experience, I know what it was like to go through life and not know anybody with MG, and then to finally connect with somebody that understood. It really changed the direction and the course emotionally for me of my disease. So I do, and I know some of you that are on here today as well do the same thing. I like to give back and offer advice, not medical advice, but just offer information, insights, and our experiences to others. And if you're going to be on social media, then you need to truly be social, and you need to get social on social media. So how do we do that? Myasthenia Gravis Foundation of America, MGFA, they have support groups now because of COVID, due to the pandemic. You can pretty much get to a support group anywhere across the USA just about every single day of the week. And they have information on their Facebook page and on all their social media platforms and on their website. And you can connect via Zoom. You can be in a support group. If you weren't able to get to one in person, you can actually get into a support group on Zoom and meet other MGers in those support groups. And they have incredible information on there. Also, when you're in support groups online on social media, be sure that you're interacting with people. If somebody has a question that you've had that experience, go ahead and answer them. Go ahead and speak to them and offer your support, because you get a very rewarding experience from that back and forth and that communication. It really means a lot as a patient. I'm sure a lot of you know that. So offer your support. If you have a question, ask a question. There's a wealth of knowledge out there, and a lot of resources, and a lot of people have been on this journey a little bit longer. So I'm sure they can help with answering questions and just offering that support. And make sure you're doing the same with friends and family. I love the emojis. They're great. They're great for a quick, oh yes, I can acknowledge you there. But we really need to start interacting with people more. I think we've kind of gotten a little lazy with those quick fixes, and we can really just, instead of hitting love, just say, I'm so excited for you, and start connecting with people. We can find new ways to connect. One of the MG groups had a trivia night on Zoom, and it was so much fun that I started doing that with my family. You can just get trivia cards or find questions online, and you can create a Zoom or use WhatsApp or FaceTime even, and you can have trivia night with family and friends. There is an app called House Party, and they have games on there that you can connect and play the games and actually see each other. And then there are the standards like Words with Friends. You can play Crazy Eights and Uno with people, Yahtzee with people online. I know when I was in the hospital, playing Words with Friends was a lifesaver for me because it kept my mind occupied, and it also connected me with people, family, friends, people in energy support groups. Also, if you have Netflix, they have a great thing called the Netflix watch party. My daughter uses it all the time. You can watch movies together and connect and chat while you're watching a movie. And if we want to find more positivity on social media, then we really need to start being the change and walking the walk. So this is an acronym that I love. It's another one of those things that in life, it's just a great thing to go by. Think. Is the information, before I shoot off this nasty message and to hit send, is the information true? And do I really need to be the one to say it? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And if it doesn't fit into any of those categories, do I really need to say it? Or can I rephrase it in a different way so it does fit into those categories? So be sure, be part of the change, and be sure that you're just thinking and making that extra effort before you comment. Sometimes I'll just type my comment, think, and then I'll just, delete it. But I get it out. So sometimes that's a good way to work around it as well. And this is probably the most logical of all, except it's the hardest habit to break. And you got to know when to power down and turn that phone off. If you are feeling physically and emotionally stressed over a post, over an app, over anything, if you're feeling down and depressed from being in a Facebook group for MG, because sometimes there can be some scary posts, step away from it, walk away, get out, enjoy life, call a friend, make sure that you're interacting and nurturing your needs in the physical world instead of the virtual world when you get to that place. Make sure you power down. The other thing is to make sure that you are being present with the people around you. I think we've all done this. I'm on my phone, I'm focusing on my phone. My daughter walks in the room, and I'm still on my phone, and she's talking to me, and I'm still on my phone. And I don't want to do that. I want to be present. And I don't think any of us want to do that, but I know that we've all done that. And so to be more present, I will sometimes make sure, because I think this can sometimes be an addiction. So I will sometimes make sure that if my daughter and husband are around, that my phone is physically distant and visually distant from me, because I don't want to compromise those real moments in life that we can have with the people around us. I have dear friends that are in the virtual world and that are real friends in real life, but I also have to focus and be present with the people that I'm with, one-on-one. So we have this incredible technology. It's beneficial. It can provide meaningful ways to connect with other people when we're on social media, and it can get us through some difficult times. Support groups online, on social media, were my lifeline without question, and I am very grateful for the dear friends that got that got me through some really hard experiences. But it can also turn toxic very easily, and it can take away from our real experiences. So we want to try to make sure that we're having those authentic and beautiful connections with people versus those toxic connections. So if we want to use social media in a manner that can positively influence our lives, then we need to put the effort into the choices that we're making. We need to consciously think about it and put the effort in and make a change for the benefit of our emotional, social, and physical health. Okay, thank you guys for the time, and I'm going to turn it back over to Jenna now.
Thanks so much, Melissa. Do you mind just stop sharing your
Yeah,
screen?
I'm trying. Second, sorry, I'm having a little, oh, there. Got it. Okay. Nope. Okay. Are you set?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa. That was great. Lots of tips and insights. We're going to dive right into the Q&A piece. So the first question is, what should I do if I see someone being bullied online?
One of a couple of things, and bullying is one thing that I have low tolerance for, and certainly, again, we go back to meaningful and authentic exchanges. And I think that we can try to address bullying ourselves first in almost a kind way. As a reminder, I admin a couple of MG support groups online, and I will try to use a reminder first. You know, we don't tolerate that here. Remember that we're all human, and please don't talk to somebody like that. If it continues, you can report it either to the admin if it's in a group, or you can report it to Facebook, because it really shouldn't be tolerated. And that's, you know, those are the tactics that I use. So first, I try to address it in a kind way as a reminder, because I think people forget that they're communicating with other humans. And then if that doesn't work, I'll get in touch with an admin, or I'll get in touch with Facebook, and I'll report it as well.
That's great. Another thing that I've been seeing more and more commonly is that there's more and more robots on the internet responding to some of these conversations. And sometimes they're intentionally putting in negative feedback and comments just to try to get people to go back and forth. So I think that's another thing to be on the lookout and just aware of as well.
Exactly. And don't take the bait. You know, it's bait that they're putting out there. Don't take the bait. Know when to walk away. And if you truly think it's a bot, you can report their page. If it's on Facebook, you can report the page as a fake account. If you and you can sort of tell sometimes. Usually there's a gender. You know, it'll show pictures of beautiful girls, but it'll say his profile. So sometimes you can tell that it's definitely a bot, and you can report it. And Facebook will remove the profile.
That's great. Thanks. The next question is, would you suggest having set times for social media, or a time limit of hours per day set aside for being on social media?
Yeah, I think that goes back to the mindful inventory. If you feel like you're spending just too much time and it's taking away from your experiences with real people in your life, or things that you want to do in your life, then absolutely. I do that a lot, especially when my daughter's home from school, which is all the time right now, when she's in distance learning. But I will make sure that I only have my phone on me for social media during certain times, or on most iPhones, you can set a limit for screen time on certain apps as well. So definitely, I think we all know, maybe I should cut back a little bit in this area, because again, as I said, it's addicting. So if you feel the need to, you know, make sure that you're limiting your time, we certainly do that.
That's great. Another thing that people sometimes practice is turning off notifications on your phone for certain apps. So there's a chemical release of dopamine when you get a notification, and a lot of times it's that impulse that even if we try to regulate times that we're not going to look at our phones, we'll still end up hearing that buzzing noise, that ding, whatever your notification is, and without even thinking, pick up the cell phone. So there's features on your phone that you can use to moderate some of that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I had that even when I had my phone sitting here and I'm doing a presentation, it was distracting me. I had to turn it face down. So yeah, it definitely does.
Great. Okay, the next question is, what are your thoughts about yoga or meditation for getting into a positive state of mind?
I personally highly recommend it. And the great thing about yoga, that was probably one of the first physical things I could do. I've written for a long time. They have bedside yoga videos on YouTube. So again, using social media, you can go on YouTube and you can find bedside yoga. And I also took up the practice of meditating in the mornings, or trying to. You can start your own meditation group with other people if you wanted to. And yes, I find them to be very helpful ways to kind of set my intention and just get in a positive state of mind in the morning before I do anything else, really.
That's great. Okay, this next question is, what are your thoughts about responding to political messages or opinions online?
It's so difficult. And I think that, again, weighing what's important to you in your mindful inventory, because for some people, there are certain issues that they're important to me. So I'm going to get involved on certain issues, even though it makes my blood pressure go crazy. So, because that's part of my authentic experience. So that's why I say positive isn't always shiny unicorns. It's authentic experiences and meaningful discussions. If you are having a meaningful discussion regarding politics, great, go for it, have it. If you're just getting into a back and forth circular discussion, nobody's going to change their mind, really, on social media at this point regarding politics. If it's about an issue, I try to drill down on issues more than politics in general, because I don't think there's a lot of mind changing going on. But if you can try to reach out and have an intelligent discussion, go for it.
That's great. I think another piece of that is understanding that which forums people are using to talk about some of those things. If people are having very opinionated or political conversations in their regular thread on Facebook, I think that's totally appropriate and that's within your network. We should just be cautionary about situations when we're in group settings, say, where that's really not the purpose of the group. And a lot of people, I think this ties in kind of with what you were saying about how you can join a group and then unintentionally be getting feedback that wasn't the initial purpose of joining the group in the first place.
Right.
If you only want to look at puppy dogs and flowers and somebody posting a lot of political stuff, it can still get into your feed then.
Right, absolutely. And when you're in, especially for MG support groups, most of our MG support groups, really for the most part, from what I've seen, they stay pretty apolitical. There's a few posts that'll get a little heated, but the admins usually come right in and turn off comments. I mean, people are looking for support. Nobody wants to get, when you're in an MG support group, people shouldn't be getting into these political arguments. There are some issues that relate to healthcare, and so that is usually allowed, and admins usually monitor things like that. But in general, if you're in a support group or a group, unless it's a political group, I would notify an admin if there's a lot of political talk.
That's great advice. This next question is, I'm new to social media. Which platform is easiest for me to use?
Oh, that's a really good question. And I think, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think that the easiest ones are probably Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but those might not be the ones that are a good fit for you. So you really need to, I'd say just try a few of them out. And I think some of the, TikTok might be kind of easy as well because it's just giving you information. So I guess those would be the first ones to try, but understand that if it's not jiving for you, just delete it. It's okay to just delete it, but try it out.
Okay, that's great.
I don't know, Jenna, if you have any other suggestions on the easiest to use.
Yeah, I think the way most of these apps or social media platforms are set up is that if you have an email account, they want you to be able to register and kind of get a profile and access the stuff pretty quickly. And Facebook especially, they'll even start making recommendations to you about which kind of interests you might want to see or what affinity groups you might have. So I think it depends, kind of what you said. I think it kind of depends on preference, but you can definitely try them out and see which ones you personally like or find to be the most satisfying to use.
I think in terms of MG also, I think probably Facebook has the most organized groups in it. So if you're looking for social media for that aspect, then it would be Facebook. But it can be challenging too. So.
Yeah. And the MGFA, we post on Facebook a lot. We post on all social channels. You'll see on the PowerPoint that those are our handles. So those are the names that you can use in those different platforms, and you can find the links directly to MGFA. So that information that we put out, that that's from a credible source. That that's information that's been put out on behalf of the foundation. And this is actually a good segue, Melissa, into the next question, which is, how do I know if the advice I receive online is valid?
Yeah, so when you're online support groups, and that's really why I said, refrain from medical advice if you can. I think that the best advice that a lot of people give is, here was my experience, and saying, here's my experience, and you should contact your neuro or contact your doctor or maybe you want to ask your doctor about something. You can get some bad advice in the Facebook groups. Usually other people in the groups will say very loud and clear, that's bad advice, don't listen to that advice. So if you're getting advice, make sure you look at all the feedback as well, and always check with your doctor. And a lot of times there are resources on the MGFA website that you can double check and see if it's accurate. But if it doesn't sound right, I'd be cautious of it. I know we had a situation where there was somebody talking about quinine for tonic water for treatment of COVID, and as we know, as some of us know, that quinine is contraindicated. Used with caution. So, that's the type of advice that we saw people getting, and we were saying, no, this isn't, that can actually be dangerous advice. We're not supposed to have tonic water. So, or we have to use it with caution. So I think you have to be very cautious, but usually the other members will say that, there might be something, check with your doctor.
Great. Thanks, Melissa. Those are the questions that we have today. So I wanted to thank you so much for your time, Melissa, and for the very informative session. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much, and thanks everybody for being here. I hope everyone stay well, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for your questions. Thanks for your participation today. We hope that you'll continue to positively use social media and use it to enhance your experience. MGFA will be hosting this series throughout the end of September. Please be on the lookout for additional invites. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a lovely weekend.